Welcome back to Algebra 1, Chapter 11, Section 1 in this book. Alright, so what we were talking about for Chapter 11 is we are going to talk about rational equations and functions, and this time, which, that's a very fancy math word, we don't care about that. We're going to talk about ratios and proportions, and you've already learned this probably before somewhere, but if not, today's as good a day as any to learn it. So a lot of times you have two fractions set apart by an equals. It's called a ratio or a proportion. How you say it is A is to B as C is to D, which means that like you can imagine that these are sides of two shapes that are similar. Then the length of one shape would be to the width of another one as the length of the one to the width of the other one. It's showing that things can be proportional, that they can be similar in size and shape. You'll learn a whole lot more about that next year in geometry. But what you just want to know now is that the terms that are on these sides are called extremes, and the ones in here, the B and the C, are called means. Remember, mean means average, and later in geometry you're going to learn some more rules about this, but that's all you have to know for now. Now there's something called the reciprocal property, which is fancy math for you can flip them, which means if A is to B as C is to D, then also true, B is to A is D or is to C, which means as long as you flip both of them, it doesn't matter which is on top. If this seems confusing, don't worry, it'll make more sense in just a second. Okay, the next one is the cross product property, which is, I bet you already know, that you can cross multiply and solve for x. Okay, so here is a problem. A is to B as C is to D. You are allowed to multiply across the x. So step one is you draw your arrows to remind yourself what you're doing. You see how it's like a cross multiply. So then you do A times D on this side, bring down your equals, and do B times C on the other side. Here's an example problem. Step one, draw my arrows. I do it every time. I promise you, all this stuff I really do every time to keep me organized. If I miss a problem, it's not because I didn't know the math, it's because I was disorganized. And in teaching children, students, young men and women, all these years, I found that to be true also. Alright, so now I do 3 times 8 on one side, bring down the equals, 5 times x on the other side, and I'm going to write it like that. Okay, and what's 3 times 8? It's 24 equals 5x, and now we're just solving it. Regular old way. That blue was running out. Why is x not alone? It is being multiplied by 5. So I divide by 5. What I do to one side, I do to the other. So x equals 24 fifths. And remember, in algebra, we like improper fractions. We see nothing improper about them. And you can't reduce that. So that's the answer. Okay, let's try this one. This one's fancy. It has 2 x's. That looks fun. So I draw my arrows. X times x is x squared. And 3 times 12 is 36. Why is x not alone? It's squared. What's the opposite of squared? Square rooted. What I do to one side, I do to the other. So x equals the square root of 36, but remember, sometimes they want us to do plus or minus, sometimes they don't. They want plus or minus this time. So it's plus or minus 6 is the answer. What about if it's fancy fractions like that? Can we do this? Yes, we can, like Bob the Builder. So, they like this problem on the SAT, the ACT, and college entrance exam. So we're going to multiply across 2 times x squared minus 9. And I'm going to write the 2 first and the x squared minus 9 second in parentheses because I want to remember to do the distributive property. And this way I've got x plus 3 times, that's ugly, but it's x minus 3. So now I do the distributive property. 2 times x squared is 2x squared. 2 times negative 9 is negative 18. And over here, I multiply it out to x times x is x squared. X times negative 3 is negative 3x. But x times 3 is positive 3x, and those are going to cancel each other out. And then Positive 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. Now I gather up my terms. So I'm going to do, because x squared is smaller than 2x squared, I'm going to go this way and do minus x squared to both sides. Those cancel out. And while I'm here, because I'm running out of board, I'm going to go ahead and move this over there. The opposite of minus 18 is plus 18 over here. So 2x squared minus x squared is x squared. And negative 9 plus 18 is 9. I take the square root of both sides, so x is plus or minus 3. More fun with sound effects. Okay, here's another one we can cross multiply. 4 times 3 is 12. There it is, 4 times 3. And 2x times 7 is 14. Why is x not alone? It's being multiplied by 14, so I divide both sides by 14. X is 12 over 14, and if we reduce that, that's 6/7. Your calculator will reduce fractions for you. Put in 12 divided by 14, and then hit this button that says math, which is funny, that's ironic, aren't they all math? And then hit enter again, and the first answer says, answer frac, or something like that. It's turning your answer into a fraction, and it will give you your answer in a reduced fraction. Very handy button, because sometimes if you're tired, you just don't want to reduce your fractions, so let your calculator do it for you. You paid a lot of money for that thing, use it. Right, here's one more. We're gonna cross multiply and solve for x. 3x on this side, x plus 4 times 5 on this side. Do the distributive property, 5x plus 20. We gotta gather up our x's, so I'm moving this, doing the opposite and moving this over here. So those cancel out. 3x minus 5x is negative 2x. Bring down what you didn't mess with. Why is x not alone? It's being multiplied by a negative 2. Divide both sides by negative 2. 20 divided by negative 2 is negative 10. So I think those aren't bad. I kind of like them because it's fancy math. Look how fancy that looks. And don't you feel clever knowing how to do it? So pat yourself on the back. Practice it, do this homework, it's not hard, and this is one that you will use from now on all the way through college math, and you'll be able to figure out all kinds of stuff with this. If you just always remember, you can cross multiply and solve for x. Alright, math is great, see you next time.